FBI Salt Lake City. We don't even know, by the way, we don't even know if this is the guy anymore. Son, your boy is getting so fired. Me when I have no suspect after 24 hours. Dude, I know. He is, I mean, he is so cooked. You were looking at an article on a non-Twitter website. Oh, you mean the New York Times? Thank you. I mean, he already is like the least credible person just on optics alone. No pun intended. But he has been so unimaginably incompetent in his communications throughout this process. Like, it would have been better for him to not say anything for the past 48 hours than to say the things that he had. Oh, we apprehended him. Oh, we got him. Nip, never mind. We didn't get him. It was somebody else. Subject instead of suspect is funny to me. Anyway, an older Mauser 36 caliber high-powered bolt-action rifle was recovered in a wooded area just off the college campus in Utah where Mr. Kirk was shot, according to 5 federal law enforcement officials. Several cartridges, including what appeared to be a spent round in the rifle's chamber, were recovered. The weapon and ammunition are being traced by ATF analysts in West Virginia, but the evidence has not yet led to a person of interest, the law enforcement officials said. On Thursday morning, investigators in Utah expressed confidence that a combination of forensic evidence from the scene and video from the university and nearby homes would soon allow them to determine the gunman's identity. By the afternoon, the FBI had posted an image of the person the Bureau is seeking. The person was captured on security cameras on a flight of stairs and was wearing sunglasses and a baseball cap. The image was somewhat blurry. The FBI's request for help suggested that the image of a person was not clear enough to create a quick match via facial recognition software. A news conference of the FBI and Utah police officials was just canceled about 20 minutes after it had been scheduled because of rapid developments in the investigation. That obviously was 4 hours ago. What is the newest update here? Yeah, there's fear and vitriol intensifying in Congress. The European Parliament declined to hold a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. Police clarified that the photographs that they released earlier on Thursday showing a person wanted for questioning in connection with the shooting wearing a cap and sunglasses were taken by a security camera shortly before the shooting took place on Wednesday. The police have received more than 200 tips so far, and they say that they are investigating multiple leads, but the killer remains on the loose more than a day after the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk. As the manhunt stretches on, it is relatively quiet here in the neighborhood surrounding Utah Valley University, where Charlie Kirk was assassinated. One street in Orem remains blocked by police officers, and some parts of the campus are cordoned off by crime scene tape. But residents say they had seen law enforcement activity here dwindle after a lengthy search of the area yesterday. They're asking Grok for help. Oh my God. No. He's clearly in disguise as a... Okay, this is a meme, chatter. Shut the fuck up. He's clearly in disguise as a patriot. Wait, what? What? Oh, he's joking about this guy who's not joking. AI suggested this is what he really looks like? Lusty libertine of the masculine persuasion. Opinions are my own. What? Attempted to enhance and polish a grainy image of the person of interest in the shooting of Charlie Kirk, Grok has somehow turned the man into someone who looks more like the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro here. With a secret third hand. More right-wing clanker psychosis on the shooter. They're not going to catch anyone at this point. Thank God for AI. It could be any of these fake people. Much better view of his face. How is that a better view of his face? That's not... What are you doing? Sharpened a little. Had AI clean it, and this is what I get. That's... Gemini cleaning up the pixels. Bro, I'm serious. We are so cooked. Because Kash Patel is exactly the kind of dipshit who I feel like would do this, who would get duped by this. Okay? I could totally see that. They're transvestigating. Oh my God. What an incredible moment in time. Old enough to remember the ineptitude of Reddit detectives misidentifying the Boston bomber. Now we have AI guys investigating suspects by using Gemini to enhance the image, thereby making a ton of new fake photos. Just incredible stuff. Based on the body shape, hand size, jawline, and apparent lack of prominent Adam's apple, you might be looking at a biological female either transitioning into male or disguised as a male. And then this guy turns around and says, women can't shoot like that. That's the other thing. That was definitely a part of the, bro. A part of the problem was like a lot of people immediately were like, oh yeah, this guy's a real good shot. Like this is a professional operation. So in their minds, this like kind of eliminated the shooter being trans from the equation because they were like, trans people can't shoot like that. I saw that so many times. I saw that so many times online, just people being like, ain't no way someone who's trans could shoot like that.
Of college age. We are confident in our abilities to track that individual.
Investigators have gathered a palm print of 4
little girls, his wife. He was such a powerful human being.
The FBI has issued a reward of up to $100,000 for information leading to an arrest. It is a bounty of some size and a manhunt of some significance. James Matthews, Sky News, in Orem, Utah.
Ne diyorsun baba? Ne? Hayır.
This morning, the murder of Charlie Kirk is heightening concern about the rise in cases of political violence across the country.
Our nation is broken, and I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination.
Charlie Kirk's a cat.
Dude, I saw so many videos on Twitter and also on TikTok of angry conservatives crying and screaming bloody murder, saying that they are going to enact a revenge of the most epic proportions that no one has ever seen before. And once again, considering that, well, I mean, Trump survived, but considering that, like, in the shortly in the aftermath of Trump's assassination attempt, that people just like kind of went back to business as usual. I really do hope that this just stays to like a brief period of people doing these fake bomb threats, and then it goes away without like any sort of real vengeance quest by people who decide to take matters into their own fucking hands. I do, however, fear that the administration is not going to let this go and will absolutely use this as a reason to continue enacting a dangerous political agenda, a fascist political agenda of political persecution of dissidents.
Casualty of war.
Then candidate Trump was shot at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania last year. An audience member, firefighter Corey Comparator, was killed. Months later, a second attempt on Trump's life at his Florida golf course. The suspect is now on trial. This past June, a Minnesota state representative and her husband were shot and killed in their home. And in April, police say a man tried to kill Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, setting his home on fire.
This kind of violence is becoming far too common in our society. It is not okay. And it has to stop.
The list goes on. Then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked in his home. And years earlier, Congressman Steve Scalise was shot at a congressional baseball game. This year, threats against members of Congress are surging, with nearly 14,000 compared to 9,000 during all of last year. Many are asking, is the political temperature too hot?
Whenever people say, like, somebody's got to do it. Like you've done the somebody's got to do it conversation. This is precisely what I'm talking about. I'm analyzing the environment and the temperature and how average normies are basically saying somebody's got to do it. And that means that like some change must take place. And if it doesn't, in the absence of some kind of change that takes place, people are going to get increasingly more violent as they take matters in their own fucking hands. Okay.
And is social media adding fuel to the fire?
A lot of it has to do, I think, with a fragmented media landscape. People can express their views on social media freely. And I think that breeds a certain amount of incivility and division.
Historian Mark Updegrove compares today's political divisions to the 1960s.
The last time we saw a political climate that was as heated and divided as we're seeing today was the 1960s, a very tumultuous, tempestuous time in our history where we saw the assassination of John F. Kennedy in 1963, Malcolm X in 1964, and Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy in 1968. It shook this country to its very foundations. And it was a time of great change and upheaval. We saw the civil rights movement in full bloom. We saw the Vietnam War, which was wildly unpopular.
Famously, all right-wing figures that once again were assassinated by the political left, I guess. Yeah, I wonder who was responsible for half of those fucking assassinations. Yeah, he's a based conspiracy parapolitics guy. And he's saying the CIA assassinated Charlie Kirk.
These things ripped us apart as a nation. Eventually, we came out of it. But I think we saw then that political violence was not the answer to our problems.
As for the threats against Congress, more funding has been allocated to boost security. Elizabeth, Perry.
Andrea, thank you. A moment of silence for Charlie Kirk on Capitol Hill turned chaotic.
The moment of silence gave way to a shouting match.
Let's wait a minute. The House will be in order. The House will be in order.
A Republican House member asked lawmakers to pray for Charlie Kirk. Democrats then demanded prayers for the victims of yesterday's school shooting in Colorado. One Democrat shouting, "Pass some gun laws."
Charlie Kirk, of course, for all of us who know him, who knew him, remembered for so many things today. And one of them is his staunch support of Israel. He visited in 2018. I remember. That was the first time I met him.
Dude, this is the craziest. This is the craziest eulogy yet, by the way. Didn't even see this? Eric Adams tweeted about you? No, I did see it. Dog, you literally had Sneeko on your fucking stream. He denies the Holocaust. What do you mean you can't be playing the association game. Anyway, let's continue.
It was at the U.S. Embassy after it had moved to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv. That was one of then President Trump's first term decisions. And Charlie was there also the following year, supporting Israel's war against Hamas and against the anti-Semitism that followed. Watch.
When we as Christians go to Israel, we are celebrated and treated like the most amazing you could ever imagine. Okay? Israel changed my life. When I went to Israel, I was reading Bible stories my whole life as a committed Christian. And all of a sudden, I had a life-changing experience. The nation of Israel actually has a place in God's plan for us on this planet. There's something special about Israel, and I think we have a moral commitment to that land.
Bro, I should have just shown this morning instead of debating people on whether or not he had a fucking change of heart.
Israeli community has been very welcoming of us as Christians and our faith to the homeland.
Yeah, they only spat on me like once or twice, bro. It was fucking dope. The number of spitting incidents was so limited. People greatly exaggerate how many times you get spit on. It's like twice. Barely any spit at all.
And it will not go unnoticed. The Israeli Foreign Ministry said this morning Charlie Kirk was a steadfast friend of Israel and a true ally of the Jewish people. He stood proudly for the Judeo-Christian values which bind Israel and America. And Charlie's fearless commitment to truth and freedom cost him his life. Violence may have taken him, but it cannot silence his legacy. May his memory be a blessing. The Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, in focus now. Prime Minister, you have your own...
It's so insane to me that this fucking war criminal took time out from his unlimited baby murder campaign to offer his condolences to motherfucking Charlie Kirk on Fox News. I'm looking at to see if... Oh, there's just mostly Israeli people saying like they look up to Charlie Kirk.
Memories of Charlie Kirk. Please share them.
Well, Harris, before I do that, I have to say that we're just heartbroken. Myself, my wife, my family, my son, actually, on his 2019 visit to Israel, had lunch with him and his wife, Erica. We're shattered first as human beings because a great human being has been taken from us. Was an extraordinary friend. He said, he wrote me a letter on May 2nd this year. He said, one of my greatest joys as a Christian is advocating for Israel and forming alliances to defend Judeo-Christian civilization. A few weeks before the tragedy yesterday, I called him and I spoke to him and I said, please come to Israel. I invited him to Israel. And sadly, that visit will not take place. But he was a defender of our common Judeo-Christian civilization. He was unbelievably excited to walk in the footsteps of Jesus here. He valued our bond, the bond between America and Israel. He did so many things to defend free speech. He had his truth. He stood up for it. But he said, you can come and debate me. He invited that debate.
Bro, free speech is so crazy. Saying Charlie Kirk loves free speech is crazy. One of these LARPers says something that will stick with me forever. The next American Civil War is going to have a lot of factions. Make allies where you can, brothers and sisters. Pick your trench mates now or they will be picked for you later. Tarbers. I guarantee a lot of those pronouns melt away when they're staring down the barrel of a gun. Exactly why blue-pilled normie cons will die. They'll point their guns at some gender bender or anarchist. He'll renounce his ways to get out of it, then kill them later. Why is this guy taking an L in his own like ultra-violent fantasy of civil war?
he certainly didn't invite the violence, the horrible violence that tried to silence him. And, you know, this is a worldwide problem. The people on the, you know, on the extremes, the Islamists, the radical Islamists, and their union with the ultra-progressives, they often speak about human rights. They speak about free speech, but they use violence to try to take down their enemies, whether it's President Trump, who's been almost assassinated twice, or, you know, they try to kill me here too. But they got Charlie Kirk, and it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, you know, the young people in both our countries look to him, and I don't know what is being said with regard to that right now in Israel, but I am curious. I mean, he is a beacon for so many in his young generation. Your last quick thought.
Look, sometimes people can be irreplaceable. Charlie was 31 years old. He was a great hero of our common roots and common culture. My own brother, my older brother, was 30 years old when he died trying to successfully rescuing Israeli hostages that were held by German and Arab terrorists in Entebbe, Uganda. And I often I thought about my brother all my life, and I think of Charlie. I'll be thinking of Charlie all my life. You know, they're gone, and maybe they're once in a generation, but generations then live by their legacy.
Amen to that. Prime Minister Netanyahu, grateful for your...
Yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu said someone tried to assassinate him, but of course didn't reveal that the person who tried to assassinate Benjamin Netanyahu was like an 83-year-old Jewish aunt. That's not even a joke. That literally happened. An Israeli Jewish aunt who's like 80 plus years old. These two things are not the same. I don't want concentration camps for migrants. My starting point isn't that like people born on a different side of the planet are automatically worse than me and I must fear them for that reason. My starting point on this is everyone is the same. Okay? It's about the opportunity that is presented. It's about their material conditions that they're born into that actually dictate who they become. How can you say these two worldviews are just diametrically opposite, but also the middle is actually where the truth lies? Anyway. Yeah. Let's get back to the way that this both sides are the same nonsensical bullshit. Okay?
A prominent conservative voice who motivated a huge number of young Republicans.
Fart P says, did you hear about what happened to Charlie Kirk? Yes, Fart P, I heard.
Through his organization, Turning Point USA. He used podcasts and campus tours to build his political momentum and movement and had a close and influential relationship with President Trump. Nancy Cortez has more on Kirk's impact.
You guys are the beginning portion of the greatest political comeback in American history.
For more than a decade, Charlie Kirk has been the leading conservative activist, motivating young people to back Republicans.
I want Trump to be president.
Kirk burst onto the political scene in 2012, launching Turning Point USA. He was just 18 years old, with high hopes of boosting high school and college Republicans across often liberal-leaning campuses.
We need to get on the college campuses, we need to get in the classrooms and challenge the ideals that are crumbling our democracy.
Yeah, back then it was all old people, by the way, that were both funding him and also knew about him. Post TikTok Charlie Kirk is a different demon for sure, but pre TikTok Charlie Kirk, he was just a guy who was going to college campuses and going to high schools and trying to manipulate student government body elections and was getting funded massively to do so. But he utilized that infrastructure that he had designed to churn out a lot of content and the unlimited funds that he got to churn out a lot of content and basically rode the Trump train all the way to the top. Yeah, I remember covering his limited success, the diaper party. Yeah, the diaper thing that Turning Point USA did, where they wore diapers on college campus. I don't know if you guys remember that, where they were like crying babies to make it seem like they're safe spaces or whatever. And they had no motion whatsoever. They were just basically getting money from older conservatives to do like a shit ton of ads that wasn't reaching young people at all beyond like the Young Americans for Freedom Foundation or college conservatives, like campus conservative movements. I will say, however, post TikTok, those dunk compilations, especially paired up with like the anger and resentment that a lot of young men felt, led a lot of people into the Charlie Kirk direction. It led a lot of young people to look at what Charlie Kirk was doing and enjoy what he was doing in a way that is not dissimilar to how Ben Shapiro and his SJW owned compilations blew the fuck up in the first Trump era. Okay? It's not new. Do you understand? This is not new. The concept was not new. The format was not new. He just had the infrastructure already built in, so he used it. The very same people, and many of you in here probably also found yourselves in the mercy of this kind of reactionary sentiment at a certain point in time where you watched those SJW-owned compilations, right? You probably watched that shit. You were going down the right-wing radicalization pipeline, right? And then you just snapped out of it at a certain point, you know, and maybe you found my content. Who knows? But Charlie Kirk basically did that exact same method, and he did it very successfully. Okay? He did it very successfully. He's the new Gen Z Ben Shapiro archetype. Now, for the record, this will always exist. There will be other people exactly like Charlie Kirk in the future as well. There will be other people that do the exact same format, ritualistically humiliating, college freshmen who are ill-equipped to have a conversation in an incredibly restricted format, where obviously the confident speaker, Charlie Kirk, has a lot more power seemingly, and with deceptive editing added on, you can just make it look like these guys don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and then you can cast a broad. You can cast the entire modern left with that same exact cartoonish depiction. Okay? It happened with Ben Shapiro, it happened with Steven Crowder, and it happened with Charlie Kirk. The notion that this is unique or new is not correct, but also these are systemic forces that play. There are systemic forces that play a formative role in the way that people reflect on their own personal politics. If people were confident about a better future, if there was a political party with conviction on the left flank, on the left side of American politics, for example, that was presenting an alternative vision that truly, like a Zoran-style vision, for example, Donald Trump would not have been able to win favors with the Gen Z vote at all. That's it. And that's precisely the reason why, despite Charlie Kirk's consistent attempts Ultimately, the Gen Z opinion swung back away from Donald Trump over the course of the past 9 months.
The organization gained traction with its signature upbeat events centered on Christian conservative ideals. The nonprofit now boasts more than 250,000 student members.
Charlie Kirk, you know Charlie Kirk, great guy?
Donald Trump's presidencies propelled Kirk to national prominence.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president.
But we're glad you did.
At just 26, Kirk opened the 2020 Republican National Convention.
I see the angst of young people as well as the challenges facing new parents.
4 years later, he was a leading force behind Trump's re-election, holding rallies and events to drive a wave of conservative young men to the polls.
If you say, I don't know if I could live under a Kamala Harris presidency, we need to do something about it. We need to go chase the ballots.
And while Kirk was a frequent visitor to the White House, he still embraced where he got his start, college campuses. While touring, he was known for debating liberal students, delighting in the open discussion of ideas.
Healthcare costs are exploding because we don't actually address the root cause.
He didn't always change opinions.
I care about excellence, not diversity. Because I do not believe diversity is a strength. I believe unity is a strength. I believe the pursuit of higher purposes is a strength. Does that make sense?
But
why can't diverse populations be united and be strong? Do you understand? This is just the same exact anti-diversity rhetoric that you hear from every right-winger. Okay? That's it. It's a way to signal to a right-wing audience, and also it's a way to make this kind of attitude more palatable to a broader audience, even liberals especially. To go, oh, dude, I don't understand. What are you saying? He's just saying he wants unity. What, you hate unity? It's like, no, he is positioning himself against diversity by saying there can be no unity while there is diversity. That's ethnic purity. He's demanding ethnic purity. Yeah, multiculturalism is a failure. Saying that in America is so funny too, but and a lot of people don't get it. And that's why I'm additionally frustrated with the way that people have eulogized Charlie Kirk without like accurately reflecting on his political output as a political operative. That was his main output. You know? That's his whole job.
He did help shape the political conversation for a new generation. For CBS Mornings, I'm Nancy Cordes in Washington.
You don't whitewash the dead. Kirk did not practice politics in the right way. He boasted of fomenting the J6 insurrection. As I said, he called for televised executions. He used the most vile language. He practiced a McCarthyism on campuses. This is not free speech. There is no need in speaking. We can speak against political violence without somehow twisting ourselves around to defend others who spoke for it. We don't.
Yeah. That's it. It's true.
Have to imitate Kirk's violent rhetoric.
No one cares if it was someone like you because it would be another terrorist dead? What do you mean? Yeah, exactly. The reason why, and the Democrats wouldn't do it either. They wouldn't defend it. And the reason for why is because I think in many ways, I think a lot of people, especially in positions of power, they also think Charlie Kirk just represents like a different perspective. they don't actually think. They don't actually think about what that perspective is. You are such a victim, ha ha ha. I mean, I'm not. Clearly.
Eric, and nor do we have to cover it up. So you're seeing some people saying, well, I disagree with what he said, but he was a champion of free speech. He died debating. Look, the fact that he was murdered doesn't change the fact that he was an opponent of free speech. There's no other way to cut it for a man who created something called Professor Watch List.
Yeah, not only is he an opponent or was an opponent of free speech, but Trump is actually using his death as a point of martyrdom to continue attacking free speech even further. And I'm over here being like, this is crazy. Look at what he's saying. Look at what he wants to do. And motherfuckers are still running around being like, nope. You know what's the real problem? The left. The State Department on Thursday indicated it would review the legal status of immigrants praising, rationalizing, or making light of conservative activist Charlie Kirk's fatal shooting. Like, think about that. We're going to start deporting people that are legally here if we don't like their opinion on the president's favorite fucking pundit. Do you understand how insane that is? It was already insane from the start to apply this kind of metric to sufficient loyalty to a foreign state, Israel. But how can people not realize that this right here is a clear-cut violation of free speech? It's crazy.
School board watch list to name and frighten people from teaching, who advocated restrictions on what school teachers could teach.
Our chief Washington correspondent, John Carl, who spoke to the president right after the shooting.
What is this? It's not about not licking Charlie. It's about making fun of him. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? At what point is deportation appropriate for making fun of someone who died? Like even that. Are you fucking insane? How can you look at the situation and go, no, that's valid? Do you think I would be on board with deporting? Do you think I would be on board with because he's American? Okay, so am I. Do you think I would be on board with deporting people from this country for making fun of, I don't know, Joe Biden? Are you fucking stupid? I think I'm talking, but he was murdered and it encourages more. I think I'm talking to a child. Like actually talking to a child with a child brain. Yeah, Clay Higgins is advocating to deplatform critics. I'm going to use the congressional authority and every influence of big tech platforms to mandate immediate ban for life of every post or commenter that belittled the assassination of Charlie Kirk. If they ran their mouth with their smart-ass hatred celebrating the heinous murder of that beautiful young man who dedicated his whole life to delivering respectful conservative truth to the hearts of liberal enclave universities, armed with only a Bible and a microphone and a constitution, those profiles must come down. So I'm going to lean forward in this fight. Ironically enough, you're talking about defending the Constitution while also actively demanding an unconstitutional thing. Okay? Because you're not a random guy. You are demanding with the authority that you have with the government, the authority given to you with the government to actually encroach on free speech. Now, I don't think it's going to happen regardless, but it's just so crazy that these guys don't even recognize what the fuck they're saying. Here's what Clay Higgins had to, okay, of classic, another this you moment. Here's what Clay Higgins had to say on social media after the attempted murder of Nancy Pelosi's husband. That moment you realized the nudist hippie male prostitute LSD guy was the reason your husband didn't make it to your fundraiser. By your own words, freedom of speech has consequences. Now it's against your side and you cry. This is comedy. What are you saying? If you have an issue with what I have to say, you can yell about it every day. And people do all the time. I don't give a shit. Suck my dick. What we're talking about is an actual violation of free speech, you dumb fuck, which is when the government actually intervenes in free discourse. What are you talking about? The shoe's on the other foot. How does it feel? You literally can look at your own words, moron. Oh my God. Sometimes I feel like it's just too much of a foolhardy endeavor to try to fucking to try to talk to people that are just too stupid to understand the English language. There's a difference between me saying whatever the fuck I'm saying and you not liking that and yelling at me over it. That's fine. People do that to me every day. Some people on the left even do that to me every day. Who gives a fuck? You want to attack our culture, feel the consequences? Our culture? What is your culture? What are you saying? If your culture is abiding by the constitutional protections, which literally very clearly define that the government cannot interfere in free discourse, in free speech, then it's not your culture anymore. You're defending a totally different culture. That's it. It means we can't live alongside with your murderous intent for now. And you're also fucking fantasizing about like murderous intent that I have for you. I don't have murderous intent for you. The monkey's paw has curled. You want to attack our culture, feel the consequences. The monkey's paw has curled. The hogs are back in chat. No, I love that. I'm fine. I'm excited that the hogs are here again. I miss them. I miss them. It's important to understand. It is important to understand what these guys think, what these guys believe. Okay? This is what years of imagined self-victimization amounts to. They have built the permission structure to justify any suppression, violence, or harm. Yeah. Yeah, I want to brutalize you and attack you by giving you free healthcare. I want to brutalize you and attack you by making sure that your fucking material conditions improve, okay? So that you no longer have to fear that you're going to be priced out of the housing market and live on the fucking street. That's what I want to do. Regardless of whatever your fucking dumbass ideology is. Anyway, go ahead. Explain what you mean. You attack our culture. What the fuck are you talking about? What is your culture? Anyway. This is not American. This is un-American. But for a lot of people, I think American culture and patriotism is whatever the fuck the most right-wing person claims at any given moment. That's it. It's so funny that the Republicans tried this when Trump had that attempted assassination, right? Where they were like, you actually can't criticize Donald Trump at all because your criticisms are hurting our feelings, and your criticisms, your valid criticisms of the fucking person running for president is actually leading to violence. They were doing words or violence, but not directed at like dehumanizing entire swaths of the population. They were doing words or violence and directing that rhetoric towards like singular individuals with unimaginable amounts of power. Are you gay? You look the gayest man I've ever seen gay, dude. You suck, sucker, sucky as suck, suck, fuck it, sucker, yuck, ugly sucker, you clown. Are you propositioning me? Do you want me to fuck your ass? Is that what it is? Why are you fantasizing about this? Weirdo.
Good morning, John. What did he say?
Good morning, Rob. And I spoke to President Trump shortly after he learned that Charlie Kirk had died. I have to say, he sounded truly shaken. Kirk had a profoundly personal connection with President Trump and with his family. And he was a singular figure in the MAGA movement. He was beloved by young conservatives, clearly, but his influence went far beyond that. He was, in fact, one of the very few people you could point to and plausibly say made Donald Trump's election victory in 2024 possible. And in our deeply divided time, he was one of the few prominent political figures on either side of the aisle who regularly engaged with people who he disagreed with. Now, Robin, he is a martyr, and I suspect that his influence may be even greater.
So what kind of a reaction are you seeing in the political world right now, John?
Well, within Trump's movement, there is sadness and mourning, clearly, over the loss of a friend. And there is also understandable rage over his murder. Key figures in the MAGA movement are demanding retribution, and they are declaring point blank that this is war. I fear that we are at a perilous moment in this country where too many people are seeing violence as legitimate.
I'm going to be honest. I really hope that they just like go back to the burger side of gun burger, you know, hopefully. That's my hope. My hope is that, you know, Republicans love whipping themselves up into a frenzy with regular frequency. But eventually there will be like, you know, $5 off jalapeno poppers deal or something that they'll actually entertain themselves with, and they'll just like forget. And we'll hopefully move on. The problem, of course, is that this is very beneficial for the Trump administration. They're going to use this as a way to advance their anti-left agenda, as a way to like, you know, silence any sort of political dissent. And I suspect that that's where we're headed towards. You know, they already are. What is this? President Trump has signed an executive order directing War Secretary Pete Hegseth to create a standing National Guard Quick Reaction Force, a domestic military unit trained, resourced, and ready for rapid nationwide deployment to support law enforcement and quelling civil disturbances. Oh, brother. Under the order, Hegseth must designate Guard members in every state, ensure they're trained and equipped, and make them available for mobilization at the president's direction. This is from a week. Wait, really? This is from a week ago? Investigative reporter Radley Balco warned on Democracy Now! That Trump has long sought a loyal paramilitary force to crush dissent, calling the order a dangerous erosion of the line between the military and civilian policing. If the courts block the plan, Balco cautioned, Trump could expand ICE and Border Patrol into a de facto domestic army. I mean, he already is. Agencies already flush with new congressional funding and less constrained by constitutional limits. Ever since Charlie's assassination, do you think yourself being more cautious in the future? Do you think it would be smarter to give it a few years before you make any public appearances? What? A few years? The fuck? That's a very sus-ass take.
Just think about what we've been through over the past year. The 2 assassination attempts on Trump, the murder of the Democratic leader in Minnesota, the firebombing of Governor Josh Shapiro's home, the shooting that we just saw at the CDC. This is truly a frightening time, Robin.
Yeah, that's what George was saying as we started the broadcast this morning, sharing those sentiments. All right, John, thank you.
As well as I did. He was a unique man. But
we hope we get him. President Trump discusses the manhunt. FBI hunt for Charlie Kirk's killer is
a
continuing.
manhunt.
Dude, the incompetence demonstrated by the FBI is pretty crazy, though, actually.
And this is how it looks.
Sheriff Department, police force, SWAT team, they were all over.
FBI investigators examined the scene of an assassination as they hunted Charlie Kirk's killer, starting with the roof where the fatal shot was fired. They issued 2 images of what they called a person of interest, a man of university age in baseball cap and shades, wearing a jumper bearing what appears to be the American flag and eagle.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
It was a shocking murder on a university campus that woke up a crime scene with a sense of unreality at what happened here. In place of classes was a press conference about the murder in their midst. Can you talk to us about their movements, their demeanor?
Suspect blended in well with a college institution. That individual appears to be.
If the FBI thought that the bullets were engraved with pro-trans, or the ATF guy who looked at this and said the bullets were engraved with pro-trans messaging because of TRN, a common brand stand for bullets from some manufacturers, and they thought it meant trans rights now, I'm gonna fucking lose my mind, dude. Aren't these guys the gun perverts? I mean, there's no way an ATF agent doesn't know a common fucking brand stamp for bullets, right? Anyway, the caliber is not the same, but it doesn't matter. They have already dialed back the statement about the inscriptions on the bullet, by the way. So investigators are eye a hunting rifle for clues of the gunman's identity and the motive. A preliminary unverified report circulated inside the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives found that ammunition recovered with the rifle used to kill Charlie Kirk appears in engraved statements expressing transgender and anti-fascist ideology. A senior law enforcement official with direct knowledge of the investigation cautioned that the report had not been verified by ATF analysts, did not match other summaries of evidence, and might turn out to have been misread or misinterpreted. In fast-moving investigations, TRN is Turan, right? New Turkish Turan ammunition for 2020. Turan is TRN, typically Turkish 9mm round casings. Yes, Turkey mentioned, albeit not in the best circumstances. Where the fuck was I? What was I looking at? What was I looking at?